Thank you for Patreon now for donating to the Patreon.
Hey guys, it's Vanity Ezel back into the Card Fight Vanguard Ezel and Vanity weekly reviews. If you guys enjoyed, leave a like, comment, subscribe, and let's get one started, shall we? So, we got a lot more reveals. I think Bushy may have taken my notes on reveal more cards, please, because we genuinely have gotten more complete lines, or mostly complete lines of reveals, so let's go ahead and get them started, shall we? First up, we have Origin Mage, Ildona. Grade 3, 200 Force Gift, 13k base. Continuous deck or drop zone, this unit gets grade -2. Okay, so already that's a good. So it's a grade 1 and drop. And act hand, if your Vanguard's a grade 1, discard it, reveal top 10, and if you choose, and if there are 2 or more grade 1s revealed by this effect, choose a grade 2 or higher, add it to hand and shuffle. So that's pretty nice. You can search for a grade 3 if you're on a grade 1. You can search for a grade 2 so you're not grade locked. Costs literally no Counter Blast or Soul Blast. And then auto van or rear, when it attacks Counter Blast 1, retire 2 of the rear guards, draw 2 cards, and then if it was on van when you did this, it gets plus 5k for battle for each grade 1 and drop. Okay, so what I'm getting from this, Luard can abuse the shit out of this in premium because Morfessa breaks the fuck out of this thing, and Luards and V get pluses out of this, and that's all I'm saying from the media. But my question is this, everyone who's questioning this card right now, did you ever think of what might happen with Clarent? Here's the reason I bring this up. I run 21 grade 1 Clarent in both premium and V. You may think, what is that? It is exactly what it sounds like, 21 grade 1 Clarent. If I remember correctly, it's 21 grade 1s, 8 crit, 4 draw PG, 4 heals. This is me trying to remember off the top of my head, by the way. I want to say there's 8 grade 2s and 4 grade 3s. That number might be slightly wrong depending on how... No, that number's right, actually. Yeah, never mind. I'm actually completely right. Yeah, that's my lineup for Clarent. So, yeah, I run 21 grade 1 Clarent. And one of my constant problems is that sometimes I either don't see Clarent or I don't see grade 2s. Ildona fixes that, and because I'm most likely going to see 2 grade 1s out of the top 10 anyway. So, yeah, Ildona's really nice. He helps save people. I might not run him just because I actually like how my Clarent deck works, and it was made for a purpose of not actually Clarent but using the main to its fullest extent. But I do think this card is still good, but I don't think Luard's the only one that can abuse the shit out of this. So 3 of Ildona. Also, to any of those wondering if 21 grade 1 Clarent is consistent or not, all I'm gonna say is this. I have lost 1 game out of the 20 matches I've played with it, and I say 20 just because I use it whenever I feel like it, because it's funny fucking playing. Maybe not competitive, but I'm telling you it's consistent. So anyone who disagrees with me on that, you have not tried that build, because it's stupidly good. Then we have Ultimate Lifeform Cosmo Lord, grade 3, 200 Excel gift, 12k base. Continues Vanguard or rear guard during your turn. If you have no standing rear guards, this unit gets plus 3k for each of your rear guards, including himself. So that's pretty nice that you can plus off of just no standing rear guards. And act Vanguard or rear guard once per turn. Rest 2 rear guards. This unit gets continuous van or rear once per turn. At the end of the battle, he attacked Counter Blast 1. This unit stands and gets drive -2 until end of turn. So it's a nice ability, kind of like the old Cosmo, except the weird thing is he can restand on rear, which is really nice. My thing is, though, I really wish they put more effort into making him a main grade 3, because this is already 2 Nova reveals, the other one being War Sword Kaiser, and they could have either supported a Sword Kaiser more, or they could have made more Death Army cards and supported Cosmo Lord with it, but unfortunately they didn't. That's disappointing in my mind. I really hope, like, next set they choose to support Cosmo Lord and or Sword Kaiser more, but, and the last reveal will hopefully be something good for both of them, but I don't know. I like this card, though. Rear guard restand ability, and it's, like, once per turn per card, which means you can use it twice, essentially, if one's on rear and one's on van, and I can get numbers, so 4 of. Then we have our grade 1 for Nobutama. Stealth Beast Magami, grade 1 boost, 10k shield, 8k base, active rear guard once per turn, retire one of your grade 0 rear guards to soul charge 1. So that's really nice. Sometimes, on occasions, and now more recently than ever, the Evil Decoy token deck has been focused on soul blasting, kind of ish. Well, not focused on soul blasting, but they have had occasional soul problems. So getting a free soul charge out of just killing a grade 0 rear guard is really easy, especially because it can be a token or a trigger. And then auto rear, when at the end of the battle that it boosted, soul blast 1, bounce it to hand, and bounce the boosted rear guard. So this is abusable in both Magetsu and Hanzo. You might not get why Hanzo in a second, but you will soon. So for now, I'm just going to tell you 4 of, and then you're about to figure out if you haven't seen my deck profile in it yet. Then we have Evil Stealth Dragon Kageugachi. Takes advantage of the soul, by the way, from this. So grade 2 intercept, 5k shield, 9k base. I swear, I see a different art of this thing every time. The only thing I ever permanently notice is this moon, but every time I look at this thing, it's a different shape. Auto, when it's placed on van or rear, call to an Evil Decoy token or rear. So it's not a mandatory call. You can choose to call if you don't want to, but it's a free token, so that's amazing. Activate in rear once per turn, so boss 1, all of your decoy tokens get plus 5k and boost for the turn. So that's really nice. My main thing with my Hanzo deck is that, before by the way, I only had Zangetsu who could give them boost, which means all it was just a defensive deck outside of Hanzo's skill, which was fucking annoying because half the time I would lose 3 of my, well not even half the time, 98% of that time I played that deck, 3 of my Zangetsus would end up in damage zone, or 2 of them would end up in damage zone almost immediately. 1 of them would eventually end up in my hand, but either on my first grade 3 draft check or right on the second I ride to grade 3, and then the last one either stays in deck or is damage check along with the other 2. So, you know, having a second one that gives my tokens boost is really nice because that makes my deck a lot more consistent, and now I don't have to throttle Zangetsu's neck. Weirdly enough, now that this has been added to my deck, I have seen more Zangetsus than ever, and I'm starting to question, does Zangetsu feel like I'm picking favorites because he chose not to show up? And my response to that is yes, I am picking favorites. You chose to ditch me half the time, so fuck you. Anyways, Kageugachi is a really nice card. Does basically the same thing as Zangetsu. Downside is he is only a once per turn, but he does similar things and he can get similar numbers out of it, so I do think he's a good card to 4 of. Next up, we have the most, in my opinion, a card that might have been slept on by the community, at least from what I saw from some people. It's just some people just seem to sleep on it. I think this thing is bullshit, especially based off of my fight that I had with it against Dimensional Robos. So, Evil Stealth Dragon, Magoroku Fugen. Grade 3, Twin Drive, Protect Gift, 12k base. I just want to say, I love the falling meteor in the background. That might be the moon, but I like the color of it if it is the moon, and it also looks like the falling impact meteor from Falling Hell Hazard from Gravidia. I also like the, what's it called, the ribbons on his back, because it makes it look like kind of a reverse unit. I think what we all were all expecting when we learned that we were going to get Evil Stealth Dragons, but a different style of, I think we all expected to have reverse Hanzo. Well, you know, they kind of have the reverse theme, because I think that's kind of like a lighter red variant of the red that goes around the circle. So I think that's really nice. And it still has like the giant circle thing behind it, even though it's not really a ring, it's just the moon, but still. And it just looks cool with all the katanas and the falling petal leaves and stuff like that. Anyways, grade 3 Protect Gift, 12k base. Continuous Vanguard. During your turn, all your front row units get plus 5k for each of your Evil Decoy tokens. I don't need to tell you why this is good, but in case I do, you can get 4 Evil Decoy tokens out of fucking nowhere on first grade 3 turn. How do I know this? Because I literally have proof of it on my channel. That is a free plus 20 to front row while your opponent's at grade 2. Easy. And then Continuous Vanguard, if your opponent's Vanguard's a grade 3 or greater, and you have 3 or more Evil Decoy tokens, all your front row units get the critical. Not just him, not just one unit, no, everything in your front row. You may be thinking, oh, that might not be that powerful. It's only 3 units and it's a bunch of tokens. Remember, those tokens in the front row will still gain 5k for each of your other tokens. So if you have both those abilities active, that means whatever in your front row is getting at least plus 15 and plus 1 critical, assuming you have both active. And that's at the very least, because that only requires 3 tokens. So you could have 2 more tokens. Boom. Both those tokens are 20k in the front row. No, they're actually 25 in the front row with double critical. And the Vanguard's sitting pretty at 37 with double critical without a boost. While your opponent, with the extra crit, they have to be at grade 3, but that's still pretty fucking good. And the other skill, the reason that I think this deck might be a lot better than it was before, Auto Van, when your rear guard is returned to your hand by your card's ability, so everyone grab your Magetsu cards and drag them over here, or Magami over here, or that one grade 2 from last time with Tasagara Hanzo that's like on attack, counter bounce 1, bounce a rear guard, call 2 tokens. When something is bounced to your hand by your ability, call up to one Evil Decoy token to an open rear guard circle. Okay, you just get a token to that circle, which means an extra plus 5 to a unit. Okay, sure, what difference does that make? Here's the difference it makes. Then you may counterblast 1. If you do, you gain an imaginary gift protect on that circle. If it's a protect 1, nothing happens. But if it's a protect 2, that token's sitting at least at a 10k, 5 from this thing skill, and then 5 from the gift skill. You probably have another token. You get numbers, and then you get like 5 multi-attack, all of them with extra criticals, and at least 20k drops, or 15k drops, depending on what's been swinging. Before, Evil Decoy token Hanzo used to be defensive. This thing says fuck defense, grabs a goddamn bazooka, and is like, say hello to my little friend before starting to shoot every single Evil Decoy token at the opponent's face. This thing's good. Numbers are bullshit, and they took a defensive 180 on this thing, and they said, fuck it, let's make it aggressive. So, 4 Fugen and an Evil Decoy token deck, because this thing's just bullshit. Then we have Knight of Consent Emeryne, grade 2, intercept 5k shield, 10k base. Remember, people, Consent is important. I also love that she has a bow. That's just cool in my opinion. Anyways, auto when it's placed on rear from hand. So about one, we get top 5. Choose one card with blaster and among its card name from among them. Call it to rear guard or put it to your hand and shuffle your deck. If you put a card to your hand, you got to choose a card from your hand, discard it. I guess I can see why you wouldn't call it, because if it's like an MOB, or like if you're using this in premium and you saw a grade 3, yeah, okay, I can see it then. But if it's a grade 2 or lower, then why the fuck wouldn't you call it? In fact, unless you're me, if you were playing premium and you were using the MLB, then there would be no reason to keep it in hand unless you needed a grade 3. So really nice that it can search the second it's placed from hand and basically get you a free rear guard. Questionable why you would bring it to hand in the first place when on-place effect was still activate, but cool. And then auto rear when your unit with blaster's card name attacks you, you get plus 5k for the turn. So, Vanguard attacks, plus 5. Other blaster attacks, plus 5. Swing from the back row somehow, plus 5. Yeah, she can hit numbers. She can, I mean, not that much, especially in D, but like she can still do pretty good. I like her. I think she's nice. She's a really good searcher. She can get power. I think she deserves a 4 just because she's actually a good card. Then we have Stealth Fiend Taizan, grade 1 boost, 10k shield, 8k base, our new Batama reveal. I just want to say I like how he looks. The blue energy come from him looks amazing. I like the little, it's not a Tanuki, raccoon. Something along those lines. Somewhere in the mixture of somewhere between a Tanuki and a raccoon. That's what this thing reminds me of. And I like the fact that he has drums on his back. That looks cool. Anyways, auto when it's placed on rear by your card's ability gets plus 5 for the turn. Cool. So we all got what we wanted. We all wanted more Stealth Fiends to abuse Nura, and last time when we got reverse Hayaki over Stealth Fiends, I don't think any of us were that surprised, but I do think a lot of us were like, really, Bushy? Like, we need Stealth Fiends and Tamio Fox, while he is good and everything, that doesn't really fix the problem, because they have to have Stealth Fiends in their card names to begin with. So, you know, it's good to have more Stealth Fiends to take advantage fully of the deck, and it can get plus 5, and then combined with Nura, it gets plus 10. That's real fun to pull off, especially when you're playing against Bermuda, before you realize, wait, fuck, Bermuda's our Bushy's anime deck, and then they can just sack heals whenever you want. I am so salty about that game, but whatever. And then auto rear when this unit attack did not hit. If your Vanguard is Shikigami Messenger Ryogi, put this unit to soul, look at top 7, reveal to 1 grade 3 from among them, add it to hand, strike your deck. So really nice that it can get an extra grade 3, and that can go to soul, meaning you can use it to search Shiryuki, and you can abuse it with a Shiryuki deck in Ryugi to make sure that, you know, you have a lot of defensive and a lot of offensive on them. Downside is it requires Ryugi to be on your Vanguard circle, and this unit's attack cannot hit. It doesn't matter what it doesn't hit into. If you swing into a rear, swing into a van, and they block it, then it still goes off. But if it goes, but it doesn't work for the attack it boosted. So I say this thing boosted the Vanguard, and the Vanguard attack doesn't hit. Well, this doesn't go off. So yeah, that's the downside to him. He has to be the one to swing, but really nice, you can get a soul, search for any grade 3, literally, and all it requires Ryugi to be your Vanguard, attack doesn't hit, and it can be plussed off of Neuro too. So all around, nice grade 1, I like it, 4 of. Then we have a similar thing in Stealth Fiend Kukin, a grade 2 with 5k shields, intercept and 9k base. Auto, same skill, when placed on rear by a card's ability, gets plus 5k for the turn. So it works with Ryugi as well as along with Nura, which is really nice because that means you can abuse numbers with it, and it's a 24k swing with Nura. And auto rear, when this attack does not hit, if your Vanguard is Ryugi, put it to soul, and all your rear guards with the same name as your Vanguard, plus 5 for the turn. Okay, so really nice that Murakumo is kind of the deck that, you know, focuses on making sure all your units have the same name. Downside is this doesn't really work that well in Ryugi. I mean, it kind of does and it kind of doesn't. But, you know, plus in everyone that is your Vanguard basically gets plus 5. Downside is it doesn't boost the Vanguard herself, which is 50-50. But good news is it gets you a soul, possibly gets you numbers, and it works really well with Nura as well. So I really like the fact that they made the interchangeable between Nura and Ryugi themselves. And it's a Stealth Fiend, so obviously it's a plus, so 4 of. Then we have Shikigami Messenger, Ryugi. Not so sure how to quote in this. I like its art though. I like the tree because it reminds me of Red or Mad Runway. I really like the fact that we got to see a different color of the fox. The raccoon looks so much more real in this one. And her herself looks like Panda Girl and she just looks good. So grade 3 Twin Drive Excel gift, 12k base. Active Vanguard once per turn. Counter boss 1, look at top 5, choose to 1 Stealth Fiend from among them, call it to rear, and shuffle your deck. And then if your opponent's Vanguards are grade 3 or greater, you get to choose 2 Stealth Fiends instead of 1. So I think that's really good. If you don't remember, Nura's skill is pretty much the same thing, where counter boss 1, look at top 5, call a Stealth Fiend, and then shuffle the rest back to deck. And then if your opponent's Vanguards are grade 3 or greater, for every 2 different named Stealth Fiends on your board, it gets an extra drive. So while it doesn't get an extra drive for the same cost, The first half of the skill will be the same, but then the difference is this one will get you a field faster, and if you can't tell by just looking at this card, you don't lose drive check ability. So Nura, it's basically Nura, but for the field. So that's really nice, a more consistent version of Nura. And then Auto Van, when your rear guard is placed by a unit's ability, by this unit's ability, that unit gets this unit's name till end of turn. Okay, so I guess that's how we're going to abuse Fugen then. And then the ability that I kind of question, Auto Van, this unit attack did not hit anything that it swung into as a Vanguard or Rear Guard. Soul Blast 2, choose any number of units from your drop zone with Self-Fiend in their card names up to the number of additional Rear Guard circles and call them to the additional Rear Guard circles. Okay, pluses, the opponent's Vanguard does not have to be at grade 3 for this, so you can abuse the shit out of your opponent's Vanguard. Other pluses, you call them to extra Rear Guard circles, so you got multi-attack and they're hitting numbers. Minuses to this, its second skill is effectively useless. My reasoning for this is because, yes, while it changes their name to this unit, it can't even take advantage of it on its own. Like, it has to be Fukun that does it, and, like, you know, since it has to call Stealth Fiends by her ability, certain cards won't go off, like Metamorphox or Hyaki Vogue. They don't have Stealth Fiend in their base name, which means they can't be called by her abilities, and since it only works when called by her abilities, things can't happen. So I question why she's like that. I really wish that second skill was more focused on having that, like, cards with the same name, but they don't. Maybe it would be like if the cards called by her's effects she gets their names. Maybe, yeah, because I would give out more power, technically speaking. But I don't know. She's okay. Like, the first skill, solid. Second skill, it's good. Not the best, not the worst. I'm sorry, third skill. And the second skill, it would be good. It would genuinely be a good skill if they elaborated more on it, but instead they made the third skill what it is, and that's what sucks about it. But I still like it. I think the first skill is a really nice representation of Nura's different side of being consistent. The second skill really was they expanded more on it, but you can't change the past now. And the third skill can be abusable if you have the soul and the skill to pull it off. So, for Ryogi in a Stealth Fiend deck. Then we have Megacolony units. First up, we have Megacolony Battler M, grade 1 boost, 10k shield, 8k base. Autos put on guard circle for every 2 of your opponent's rested units. This unit gets plus 5k shield for the battle. So already it's at plus 10, already it's at 10k shield. But it's for every unit at rest. So, for every 2 units. So if they're swinging with a column, most likely they will. That's an extra 5k right there. So already he's a 15. So at the end of the battle, at the last battle of the turn, this thing has a fuck ton of shield, and that's really nice. And then auto, when you're retired from guard circle, if your opponent has no standing units, you may call to an open rear guard circle and soul charge 1. Cool. So while it does have to be an open rear guard circle, if your opponent gets a deck that retires, that's a plus for you because you're getting a rear guard out of it. And you get to soul charge, which sometimes Megacolony uses a lot of soul. So free call and soul charge. Downside is that is a mandatory soul charge, so you could deck yourself out quicker. But frankly, you're getting an extra shield out of it, and you're getting a free rear guard more or less. So 4 of Battler M, and you all know I'm biased with this card because I really like skills that make it so you're not wasting guarding power. So yeah, Megacolony Battler M is just a good card. You slowly advance your board while your opponent can't do anything to stop you. And then we have Megacolony Battler S, grade 2 intercept, 5k shield, 9k base. Why do I feel like the main grade 3, it has to be a reverse unit that they're going to make up and pull out of their ass, or it's going to be a Megacolony Battler grade 3 that we've never heard of before. I'm willing to bet right now it's going to be one of those two. Anyways, auto when it's placed on rear soul blast 1, your opponent chooses a card from their hand, calls to rear guard circle as rest, your opponent draws a card, and the called unit cannot stand during the next stand phase, and its auto ability does not activate from this call. So, if you're just a simple soul blast, which you probably got from this thing, they lose a hand card, granted of their choice, and they get to pick the rear guard. This isn't chaos, but they do get to draw, except the unit's just stuck there. Cool, you're fucking with the opponent's board. That's nice. And then act drop once per turn. If your opponent has no stand units, discard 1, call to an open rear guard circle, and soul charge 1. So cool, it refunds its own cost. And since that first ability is a once per turn, you can call it, use its skill, call over it, call it back using its skill, and then soul charge, and then do its skill again. I like that. Yeah, that's actually pretty good. That's actually pretty good. It fucks with the opponent's hand. It can screw over their field. It can also make them deck out slightly quicker because it's making them draw 2, and they're not really plussing off it because they're losing 2 rear guards anyways. And you can pull off pretty nice combos with this card. I think this is a really nice support card, and both of these work really well for just Megacolony as a whole. That's why I like the Megacolony Battler units so much, just because they focus on the core of Megacolony, which is resting opponents' units. So 4 of Battler S, because it's actually a good card. I'm just wondering what our grade 3 is going to be, because I'll give you a hint right now, it has not been revealed currently, or as of the making of this part of this video. So 4 of S. Now we move on to blurry ass cards. Lady Battler of the Black Dwarf, grade 2 intercept 5k shield 10k base. Autos rode upon by a grade 3 with Messiah in its card name. They say that because for premium reasons, and also because there are 2 grade 3s with Messiah in their card name and V. Let's petition for a third one. Search it after 1 grade 3 card with Messiah in its card name that has a different card name than your Vanguard. Reveal it, put it to your hand, and shuffle your deck. So you ride 1 Messiah, and then you immediately get another one for free. So if you ride Alter Ego, you just get a free Harmonics, and vice versa. Hands down, this is the best grade 2 Messiah is gonna get, and that's, wait, I have bias towards that statement, because I really like that Lady Fencer card that's like, when it swings, it's +5 and unlock it, because I love using that card. I'm willing to give up that bias because this thing's good. And then auto rear at the end of the battle that it attacked, if it has not been locked to this turn, you must lock it. So that's a mandatory skill. And if it has been unlocked to this turn, you may counterblast 1, retire it, and draw 2. So at the end of the battle it swings, regardless if you want it to or not, if it wasn't unlocked to this turn, it immediately dies. But if it has been unlocked, it would still die, and you got to play an extra counterblast. But you get to draw 2. So one of them replaces it, and then the other one's just a free plus. So Black Dwarf is honestly a pretty good card. Nice support. Messiahs can easily unlock and lock cards basically from deck. So, you know, Black Dwarf will always have that fodder. It is the best grade 2 ride line they're ever going to get. And yeah, probably not the best one on rear, but definitely the best one on van. So 4 of Lady Battler, because her search ability is bullshit and she has a really good second skill. Then we have card I didn't think we would get. Frankly, Hammsuke's classmate, Mechanical Pencil Hammy. I didn't think we were getting Hammsuke support again for a long ass time, but apparently I was wrong. Grade 1 boost, 10k shield, 8k base. Auto rear when your Vanguard with Hammsuke and its card name is placed. I was about to say regardless of where it is, and then I remembered, right, it just specified Vanguard. Counterblast 1, play a card with Hammsuke and its card name from your drop zone to bottom, because that's what Hammsuke's do. So draw a card, and then choose one of your Vanguards until end of turn. It gets +5k and increase or decrease its drive to 2. So one that's not once per turn. So the Vanguard is just getting a +5 and you're just getting a draw. But then also when you're using, I forgot what it is, but like the grade 3 that allows for you to restand, not restand, but like ride a Hammsuke from your deck and decrease its drive to 1. This immediately bumps it back up to 2. So I think it's like a total cost of 2 counterballs between this and that other card. And then, you know, you discard 2 for that Hammsuke skill, you get an extra Excel gift, you get a draw, your Vanguard gets +5, and you still have 200 drive out of all of this. Yeah, let's go! MVP promos! Promos are broken! Hammy's really nice though. It's really good. You know, it works regardless of when the Vanguard is placed. It can be main phase, it can be battle phase, it can be fucking end phase. Hell, watch, the next Hammsuke is gonna pull Hanzo and just ride during your opponent's turn. I swear, if Bushy does that and I predicted it, I'm gonna be so happy. But yeah, it's just a good card, and it can plus. So if they do actually make a Vanguard one that can do it during your opponent's turn, which I doubt, because Hammsuke would be able to, this thing would need an errata immediately, and then it would have to be during your turn. But yeah, free 5k. So all around, I think Hammy's really good. I like this grade 1. It's a nice support card. I give it a 4 of.
Now into our last reviews for the week. First up, we have Armor Break Dragon. Grade 3 200 Excel gift, 12k base. Before we get into this, guys, I just want to say this thing is cool. I like its art. It's Fist of Fury, the rocks coming out of it, the dragonfied wings. This thing just looks amazing. And if you don't remember what Armor Break is, it was basically, if I remember correctly, it came out before Dauntless, and basically Dauntless was meant to be an upgrade of Armor Break. So I'm saying Armor Break is now an upgrade of Dauntless, actually, and here's my reasoning. Active Vanguard, Counterblast 3, bind all of your opponent's front row rear guards, then for each of your opponent's open front row rear guards, this you get +10k to critical. So Gauntlet Buster, if you know his skill, he gets +5k power and 1 critical for each of your opponent's open front row rear guard circles. So 2 front row rear guard circles put these on the same number for Gauntlet if this only had one. But most likely you will not only have one. So if Gauntlet has 2 open front rearguard circles and this has 2 front open rearguard circles, this one will have more power and critical. So without your opponent being at grade 3, this thing's at least a 22k, no, probably a 32k quintet critical beat stick. Damn, if we have counter charges, we can abuse the shit out of this thing. And then auto ban, when this unit attacks, if you have 4 or more cards you damage on, this unit gets plus 10 to end of battle for, and your opponent cannot call sentinels from hand to guard circle. So this just cuts out the middleman of Gaibin, you know, the thing that can just give plus 3k to people and then prevent them from using sentinels. And I think this honestly is 10 times better than Gauntlet Buster, because Gauntlet Buster, yeah, well, he's good, and he is slightly less of a cost. He is just a PG fodder. This says, F you, I'm not PG fodder, and you better guard me, because if you don't guard me, you fucking dying. So, Armor Break is actually amazing. Like, yeah, this thing works as a finisher based off of what I've seen other people say, but, well, you don't think that this thing would just work good on its own? It's amazing on its own. It's such high power and critical. You can always go to 4 damage. I always go to 4 damage, and I barely lose because of that decision, so, you know, maybe it's time you start going to 4 damage, because this thing's amazing. The numbers you can get with it, the crits automatically make it a guard this or you die. It's just amazing. It's just amazing. It's hard to stop. Abuses with a couple of counterchargers, and Armor Break Dragon will probably become the MVP of Narukami. So, whether it's a finisher or just a solo run grade 3, because he can work as a solo run grade 3. So, yeah. I give Armor Break a 4 of copy in any deck. I mean, if you're running it as finisher, 2 of, but if you're running it as an actual main grade 3, 4 of, this thing's really good. I suggest you try making it your main grade 3, because I tell you it works. Then move on to our last reveals for today, which are Pale Moon. We have Engaging Assistant, grade 1 boost, 10k shield, 8k base. Auto, when it's placed on banner rear, choose a from your hand, look at the top 5, choose up to 1 grade 3 from among them, put it to your soul and shuffle your deck. Okay, apparently we're getting grade 3 support in Pale Moon. I guess Pale Moon has suddenly turned into Bastion. And then add a rear guard, retire this unit, choose a grade 3 card from your soul, put it to your hand, and if your vanguard is not Sword Magician Sarah, choose a card from your hand, discard it. Okay, all around, that's actually a pretty good skill that can work for both decks, because, or like every deck, because Pale Moon does do a decent amount of soul charging, like not super fast soul charging like Dark Irregulars do, but it's really good though, because you know, you get a top 5 search, get a grade 3 and you send it to soul, and that can be useful later when you're calling out from soul with various effects, and not to mention it can just retire itself, and you can add that grade 3 to hand, and now you can prevent yourself from being grade locked. And not to mention that if your Vanguard is Sarah, then you don't have to discard, it's just a free card. But you know, if it isn't Sarah, you do have to discard one, but either way, that's still a plus because it can prevent you from G-assisting, and it's all around just a good card. I like it. Nice support card for Pale Moon all around, and I think it's a 4 of, or at least a 3 of in every Pale Moon deck, but a 4 of in Sarah. Then we have Pop Out Chimera, grade 2 intercept 5k shield, 9k base, continues rearguard deck, soul, or triggers on this unit gets plus 1 grade. So that's a plus, you know, we are getting another Bastion card basically, but you know, works in Trigger Zone as a grade 3, works in Soul as a grade 3 for Engaging Assistant, and also works as a grade 3 in deck, also for Engaging Assistant. And then Auto, when it's placed on Van, carry boss 1, Soul Charge 3, and if you Soul Charge 1 more triggers, you get to draw a card. Okay, I think that's really nice. This is Day Stole, let's go straight from a Demoted Executioner. It was, I'm pretty sure, the exact same thing, but I like the fact that how he actually supports the main purpose of Sarah, which is to get a bunch of grade 3s into Soul and in your drive checks. I really like how he supports that. I like how he has his own Vanguard skills that he is worth riding, and not to mention continues rearguard. If you call 2 or more cards from your Soul this turn, this unit is plus 10. So it's like what's it called? The Rising Dragon, I think it is, from Silverthorns. I really like how, you know, he can just gain numbers real quickly, he can get you soul and possibly draw, and not to mention that he can work as a grade 3 pretty much anywhere outside of damage zone, drop in hand. So, I think Chimera is a really good card. It is definitely one of the cards I think do their job well in terms of being a support card, and all around it's just a good thing, so I give it a 4, because it also works in any other Pale Moon deck. Granted, the first effect's kind of weird in any other Pale Moon deck, but the second 2 effects, still good in Pale Moon deck, so 4 of. And finally, we have Sword Magician Sarah. Not a huge fan of herself, but I like the daggers in the art and the fire. Grade 3 Trinidad Excel gift, 12k base. Active Vanguard once per turn, counterblast 1, search after 1 grade 3 card, call it to rearguard circle and shuffle your deck, and until end of turn, this unit gets continuous Vanguard. All your grade 3 rearguard get boosted in 2k. Okay, pluses. This is base, not a free because it's a counterblast 1, but you get a rearguard, and all your grade 3s will end up getting boosted in 2k. So this thing will automatically get boosted, that's pretty nice, and they all get 2k. Wait. It doesn't work on rear, so all of them get 2k. So that's really nice, you know. It's basically Bastion, though. Like, that's my thing. This is what Bastion should have done. Like, get a skill that can call grade 3 from deck, but whatever. And then Auto Van, at the end of the battle, your draw check ability grade 3 or greater card. Put 2 normal units from your rear guard on the bottom of your deck in any order. Choose 2 grade 3 cards from your soul, call them to rear guard. Okay, you get multi-attack. Like, that's not horrible. Like, genuinely, it's good. But I guess I'm just not impressed by it because, you know, it's just Bastion. That's what this is. They just stole Bastion's gimmick and then changed it ever so slightly. Like, this is literally just basically a Bastion card in 0, considering Bastion support cards in 0 literally work on trigger zone, deck, and rearguard. So, yeah, you know, it's just not impressive to me. I still think it's really good, but, well, okay, really good is a stretch, but I think it's okay. You know, you can give multi-attack. Granted, it requires you to get a bunch of grade 3s to abuse it with, and to abuse this, you're probably gonna make your whole main deck, like, not Vanguard-based grade 3s. I mean, if you don't draw Sarah, you're effectively screwing yourself, and this isn't really a searcher because it just sends the grade 3 to Soul. But, you know, I think it's good in its own right. You just have to find the right build for it. Either way, Sarah's a nice card, and I like her, so I'll give her 4. That's it for today's reveals. I hope you guys enjoyed. Honestly, we got a lot of good cards. I think Armor Break is the most broken out of all of these because Armor Break is just funny. But either way, when here, I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, join Discord, follow Twitch, and I'll see you next one. Don't forget to stand up your Vanguards.